Hello, dear friend, and welcome to the yearly horoscope for Aries for 2021. This prediction will apply to you if you have your sun or rising sign in Aries. So before we get started, I also want to share with you a wonderful gift which I have prepared. You can download the free astrology calendar for January completely free. Check the links below and you can get it immediately. If you want to, of course, you can get the whole calendar and also the special webinar about 2021. With that being said, let's get to the most important part about 2021. Jupiter and Saturn are changing signs, moving to Aquarius together and forming a conjunction. Jupiter, from one side, feels more comfortable in Aquarius, which will trigger your 11th house. And most of the year, Jupiter will be there, specifically between January and May and August and December. So for the most part. And this position can bring you some new opportunities in the area of social communication, connection with groups of people, focusing on some kind of community work, or generally expanding the circle of your friends. Jupiter in 11th house can also bring you this vision about the future that you may want to pursue, and it can really inspire you to move forward and focus on the future. Very positive position for all kinds of social activities, for looking at things from a different perspective, for some spiritual work, and as we said, for communication. Between May and July, the middle of May and the end of July, Jupiter will move to your 12th house. Those couple of months can be especially positive for some kind of spiritual work, working and healing your past or revisiting the past experiences and letting go of things that you don't need in your life. It's about healing, it's about going more internal and focusing more on your inner needs. Great time also for focusing on some kind of spiritual work, a new type of practice, for traveling to really long distance places like immigration, relocation. This Jupiter position can also be interesting for you. And we have to mention also that Jupiter in your 11th house will square Uranus in your 2nd house around January. And this aspect can bring you some kind of change about your goals, change about your vision. Also, this may trigger your personal stuff like resources and finance. And also, you may need to find the balance sometimes between practical things and money. And on the other side, your vision for the future, your dreams, and maybe even friendship. There could be a confrontation between those areas. So you need to find the sweet spot. You need to do something to change the situation. On the other side, as we said, Saturn is also moving together with Jupiter in your 11th house. And Jupiter can bring you the opportunity for expansion and growth and success and opportunities. But Saturn is adding a little bit more practical note here and also more concentration. Saturn in 11th house can make you very conscious about the people you connect with. And if there are some people who are not good quality people, so to speak, you may prefer to cut certain connections with others. When Saturn moves to 11th house, we want to keep only the meaningful friendship and connections. And if there are people who don't deserve to be part of your life, probably you will cut them out of your life. Saturn in 11th house also requires from you to be very practical, grounded, and concentrated about your vision for the future, about your dreams and your desires. There could be some kind of blockages or restrictions or delays, but as long as you are hardworking, consistent, responsible, you can actually achieve so much more. And Jupiter together with Saturn chasing each other in your 11th house can be a very productive combination. From one side, we can expand, you can see things differently, you may focus on a new future idea or goal or a cause. And Saturn on the other side can bring you the necessary qualities to be consistent and practical. Saturn is also squaring Uranus, but it will happen 3 times during February, June, and December. When Saturn squares Uranus, we may also face with some kind of challenges, with something unpredictable, with something which can be surprising, sometimes even shocking. And this triggers the same to Aries, 11th and your 2nd house. Your vision, your ideals, your friendships, and on the other side, the more practical things like money, resources, and including your health, your physical energy. You need to find the balance. There might be some surprises that trigger those areas. And overall, you may feel pulled into different directions. From one side, Saturn wants to keep things the way they are and, to keep the stability. On the other side, Uranus is pulling you towards the future and the desire to change things, to do something differently, to be more inspired. And you might feel those confronting energies pulling you in 2 directions. So we all need to find the balance. Next, moving on to the outer planets. Uranus will be in your 2nd house between the 7th and the 15th degree. This position is important if you have the cusp of your 2nd house between those degrees. If you are not sure, you can check my free birth chart calculator. Links are below, and you will see where is this cusp in your chart. If Uranus triggers your 2nd house, if you have the cusp there between those couple of degrees, then there could be some surprises for you that trigger material stuff, resources, money, changes, possible instability, but also new approach, more freedom, changing things, doing things in a completely different way. So again, the important question here is, where is the cusp of your 2nd house? Next, we have Neptune, which is between the 19th and the 24th degree and will trigger your 12th house. If you have the cusp of your 12th house somewhere between those degrees, it will be an important one, which is making you more sensitive, more connected to yourself, maybe can bring the desire to pay more attention to your private life, to your personal experiences, can make you a little bit more sensitive and emotional. And also it's a great time for spiritual work and practices, and also for some healing. The last of the outer planets is Pluto, which is actually taking a pretty important position for you guys. Pluto is in your 10th house between the 25th and 27th degree of Capricorn. If you have the cusp of 10th house somewhere between those degrees, it can bring major transformations, especially related to your social realization, to your social status, and your career. It's possible that things may change dramatically in this area for you in one or another direction. You have to see the whole chart in order to understand the real direction for you. But overall, it shows very deep transformations and changes in regards to career and social status. Also, if you have your sun or rising sign in Aries between those degrees, 25th and 27th, plus minus 2 degrees, then Pluto will square your sun or ascendant. And this is also a major transformational period. It might be challenging. It may feel like you are losing control, like someone is, for example, taking certain advantage or maybe controlling your life instead of you, or life is just happening in this way. So it's a tough transformational path, but the rewards can be incredible. You definitely need to focus on some spiritual work, some energy practices, and this can help you to balance the situation. So definitely pay attention, where are those degrees falling in your chart. Next, we will talk about the nodes and eclipses during 2021. First of all, the lunar nodes will be in your third and ninth house. The south node is in your third house, which means that you shouldn't focus so much on philosophy or this type of approach when we look only the bigger picture. You should focus on third house approach. Where is the north node? This is about paying attention to the smaller things, the details, learning to be a little bit more present, not to live so much in the future. And also learning some practical skills, something that you can use soon or even immediately if possible. It could be learning a new language, learning some concrete skills, taking some kind of trainings or courses. This can be highly recommended and positive for you guys. And the eclipses are periods when actually those axes, those areas, those themes are triggered. For you, the most intense periods are the end of May and around the middle of June, the 10th of June, then the end of November and the beginning of December. You can see here all of the dates when we have eclipses. Around those days, we may also have more understanding, make important changes, transform things in our lives. In your chart, as you can see again, the houses which are triggered are ninth and third house, but also the second part of eclipses, November eclipse, is triggering your eighth and second house, which is about your resources and balancing your energy, how much you take and how much you give. Those would be very important axes that are triggered for you during this year. Third, ninth house, and the end of the year also eighth and second house. Next, we are moving on to Venus. Venus will be retrograde starting from the very end of 2021, from the 19th of December, approximately until the middle of January 2022. Venus will be in Capricorn in your 10th house, which means changing, reevaluating things related to your work, career, social reputation, maybe communication with authority figures. You need to find the balance in this area. You can be more emotional regarding those themes in your life. And overall, this could be time for restarting old projects related to work, career, maybe communication with powerful figures in your life, and changing things after that. So that's literally for the last less than 2 weeks of the year, but it's still important, so I want to prepare you for that. And of course, Mercury is also retrograde. Each year we have Mercury retrograde 3 or 4 times. This time it will happen 3 times. You can see the dates. So the end of January and February, we have Mercury retrograde in your 11th house. Then September, October in your 7th, and May and June in Gemini in your 3rd house. As you can see, the most interesting thing is that Mercury will trigger the air houses in your chart, 3rd, 7th, and 11th house, which are the houses of communication. And this is the area which you may need to focus on during the year, changing things, reevaluating. Of course, the different phases are triggering different type of communication. The first one is about social communications with community specifically. Then May and June triggers your third house, which is about your closest environment and friends. And the last phase, September and October, is your seventh house, which is about your personal relationships and communication with close people one-on-one. But the important thing here, the most interesting, is that Mercury triggers the three air houses, and it won't change positions from one sign to another. It will be retrograde in only one sign at a time. So you might really reconsider communication and connections with other people. So Mercury triggers those houses. Jupiter and Saturn are triggering your 11th house. So one of the most important themes of the year is communication, communities, causes which can be important for you, and your vision for the future. The challenge comes mostly from Uranus from second house, so you might need to reconsider, to restructure. There could be some surprises, but overall, it could be a new direction for you. Thank you so much for watching this forecast. Don't forget, check the links below, download your free calendar for January. And if you want to have the full calendar, of course, you can purchase that as well. It comes together with a full webinar, extensive webinar about 2021 and what we can do and what kind of energies we will experience. So it's a very interesting webinar. Thank you again, and I will see you soon.